Hey guys, today I want to try something completely different, completely out of my element, and do a book review. And you probably know from the title and the thumbnail, but we are going to be reviewing The Way of Kings. So when I thought about let's try this book review thing, I was like, what book should I do? And this is one I've finished recently. I kind of didn't want to do a review on this one because I feel like there's so many out there. There's so many people that love this book, so many people that are so into fantasy that have great reviews on it. And I was like, why would my review mean anything? And then I thought, well, I'm not a huge fantasy lover, so maybe this review will help more of the average person. So I'm going to give a bit of an overview and some non-spoilery stuff, and then I will have some spoilery stuff, but I will let you know before any of that happens if you want to click away. Okay, so some background first, because I think it's important to know. I started The Way of Kings back in January. I started it at the end of the month, and then we got a 5.5-month-old foster daughter kind of out of the blue. And I did not pick up this book for months because I was sleep deprived, and this book has a lot going on, and I could read other books, but I couldn't work through this world in the state that I was in. And then end of April, I think, I started listening to the audiobook. It is 45 hours long, but I listened on double speed, so it wasn't that long. Plus, I'd already read 250 pages out of the 1,000 in this copy, so it didn't take me forever. I got through it a lot faster that way. But I just kind of feel like it needs that bit of a background because it's been a few months since I read the first 250 pages. The only reason I really pushed myself to read this book is not because of booktube pressure, which definitely is a thing, but it's because my husband read these books over the last year and loved them, and I think they're probably his favorite book series. They might have even trumped Lord of the Rings. If not, they're pretty close. And so because he loves them and wants to talk about them, I wanted to read the series. So overall, after I was done reading it, I was like, what was this book even about? What would I even say this book is about? And it's hard to say because there's so much going on and there's so much I don't understand about the world. But we follow 3 main characters. The thing is, this book is set up into different parts, and then each part has different interludes, and the interludes follow different people. So the way it's set up is every part or every interlude tells you who you're following throughout that part. And I appreciated that because there was a lot of going back and forth. And also there are a lot of pictures. Well, maybe not a lot. One of the characters is an artist, and so these are her drawings. So even when I was listening to the audiobook, I was flipping through and looking at the pictures. But anyway, so we follow 3 main characters. Pronunciation I'm using is based off of the audiobook. The audiobook is different than what I've heard a lot of people on BookTube use for pronunciation, but we're gonna go with the audiobook. So our first main character is Caledon. He is a slave who definitely has a bit of a history. You can tell right off the bat. There's a lot more going on than him just being a slave, but because he acts different than all the others. He's got hope. He has a desire to not necessarily fight, but get out of his circumstances, and tries time and time again. So he's our first main character. Our second one is Shalon, and she is leaving her home to go to another land. See, I'm not even sure on some of this terminology. A different city anyway, and she has a job to steal something important from someone. Her family is dependent on her to do this. So she goes under the guise of wanting to learn under this person, and the whole time she's trying to think of how to steal this thing. And then our third character is, he's kind of like a man of war. He is the son, or he is the brother to the guy who used to be the king, so he is the uncle to the current king. And he is the head of, how's the terminology again? Kind of like a house. It's not the right wording. Well, I can spend forever thinking of the right wording, or we can just continue on. This is a review by an average person who reads a lot less fantasy than is included in this book. His name is Dalinar, and he's going through something. He's seeing visions or going crazy or something, and he's kind of trying to figure out if he needs to like step down from his role, or if he, like, are these visions real, are they not? All this is going on during a time where there is war between the king and his people and the people called the Parshendi. I don't even really understand all of who they are or anything. So as far as the fantasy goes, there are so many different things going on. There are people who have shard blades. So they have like, it's pretty much like a magical sword that they can call up, and they have shard plate, which is like kind of like magical armor that's infused with stormlight. So like stormlight is the power, I guess. When a storm comes, then it powers everything. Their money is even powered by the storm and is infused with this light. Overall, okay, so this is kind of where I'm bad at reviewing, because for me, a review is supposed to be a little bit more impartial, whereas to me, how much I enjoy the book really depends on like my experience. That's how I rate a book. Sanderson is like a master storyteller and writer, and he can hold a lot more in his head than I can. This book definitely made me realize that I am never going to try, not even going to attempt to start the Wheel of Time series. Like, if this is pretty much my maximum for like characters and things, there's no way I can do the Wheel of Time. So overall, I thought the book was like kind of mediocre in a way that I wasn't really getting it. It felt like the people at the beginning, let's just say at the beginning, it felt like the people in the book didn't even understand what's going on, so like they didn't understand their world. So how was I supposed to understand their world? And then in the last 25%, I think it felt like things were really starting to come together. And then by the last 10%, I was like, okay, now I'm really liking this. So before I give any spoilers, my plan is to listen to one book a month for the next few months until I finish the series. So currently there's 4 books out. I believe Sanderson's plan is to do this as a 10-book series, but it's broken up into 2 5-book series. So it's like the first 5 are kind of a series, and then the next 5 are kind of a series. I'm not sure. As far as like intensity and stuff goes, this is by far, to my knowledge, Sanderson's most involved series. I've read a number of his other books. I've read Warbreaker, I've read Mistborn, I've read The Arithmetist, I've read Skyward. That series is sci-fi. His other ones are all fantasy. And this is by far like the most intense, the most characters, the most just everything being so different in the world. It took me a lot longer to get into it because there's so much more going on that is not normal to human standards. So there was a lot to learn. Now, let's talk spoilers. If you haven't read the book and you want to, I would say stop here. If you never want to read the book but you're kind of curious about it, feel free to continue on and hear some of my like more spoilery thoughts. So if you haven't read the book and you're gonna check out here, thanks for watching this part. This is my first book review. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I thought it would be fun. And if you want to hear the spoilery thoughts, just continue on. Okay, where do I even start? So let's talk about Kalinin and his history. I actually quite liked how his history came out slowly. I mean, at times it felt like it was a little too slow, but it was interesting to see where he came from and how he wants to help the underdog because of what happened to his brother and how he feels responsible for that. It made me appreciate him more as a character. I can't believe that he gave up the ability to have that shard blade and shard plate, and it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously it's part of the story, but I don't like that one guy just killed everyone and like made Caledon not say anything about it, and he stole it. I don't like that. Obviously there's reason behind it, but still. I don't like it when people are dishonest. But he is an interesting and complex character. I can't imagine having something of such great wealth at my fingertips and deciding to give it up. That seems crazy. So Caledon, and then I was hoping that he was going to go back for Dalinar. I kept waiting. It took him a lot longer to act on that. They're kind of at the end than I was expecting, but he did, and I'm glad that he went back. He is a very good example of a great character. I saw there are Bridge 4 shirts in Sanderson's shop, and I'm like really tempted to get some of those or one of those for my husband because I know he loves this book. And I know he really likes Bridge 4. So yeah, Caledon is a great character. Really enjoyed him. And then moving on, Shalon, I was curious to see where her story went. I did not see the whole bit with Yesna and her being able to have these like pretty much abilities herself without needing to use the oh, whatever the thing is that she was trying to steal. Yeah, I totally forget the terminology. I didn't see that coming, but also like I feel like I don't even know the world enough to be able to predict that. Like I couldn't have seen it coming. And I'm curious to see where their storyline goes from here now that she's apprenticing under her, she's leaving her family. Very curious to see where that goes. And then Dalinar, another guy of like really good character. I see why Jared really likes this series, because other than Shalon trying to steal something, everyone just has like an excellent character and are great role models. Dalinar is willing to stick to what he believes no matter what, even if it means that other people make fun of him and think little of him. I did not see the fact that that guy was gonna betray him and leave him stranded, and then I can't believe that when he was left stranded he didn't even like ream the guy out. He kind of just said, "I'm taking your bridgeman," and going from there. I feel like there's probably more I could say here, but this is my first time ever doing a book review and I don't really know how much to all say. If you've read this, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have not read it and you read my spoilery thoughts, does that make you want to read it? I'm not sure if it makes any sense. If you guys want to see more book reviews, let me know. I'm not sure if I will or not, but I thought it would be fun to do this one. And thanks for watching, guys.